what I experienced at Willow Springs School in second grade, which coincides with Catholic sacraments, was the attempt to emotionally blackmail me and try to get me baptized in the Catholic Church as a second grader. And I was someone who my family was already established in town maybe 40 years before this even happened. So, I mean, I was already a different generation, and seeing people coming in almost as tourists, people who are worried about what's going on, in the market square, or, who's worried about that mansion in town, or, what religious kids were allowed to kind of be boisterous and outspoken and not get punished or silenced like other students. What I did notice about students who got silenced, they probably had more emotional problems. I did notice that girls who might have got silenced or didn't get the correct attention would probably cry, before they had to speak in front of the class or give a little presentation that was a minute, and these were kids, didn't know any better. Kids were nervous, but I could definitely see the effect on non-Catholics or people that didn't partake in the triangulation or Jezebel or whatever spiritual concepts that the teacher was pushing in the class and that some students brought to class that made them more of a different group. Although everyone seemed to get along, there you could definitely tell for some reason the Catholics were allowed to be a little more boisterous. The solution to the education problem here in town, and I'm not, I shouldn't be one speaking on it, but people who have bought into cults or secret knowledge or um, religion, who are there overseeing what's going on, can easily tamper with any kid, and they could do it. These teachers or these principals, I don't know if it's a principal, a counselor, or whoever, but they definitely would have pressure put on them. They're allowed to hold on to their job. They would probably have pressure put on them to give certain students preferential treatment. You could see that as students were split up between like 1A and 1B, one class went here, one class went there. And it seemed like the teachers were trying to mess with personalities and or squelch personalities or keep certain personalities together, keep certain ones separate. And the fourth grade teacher had a Valium on her desk. She'd be giving me detentions for basically nothing. So often enough where this, it was definitely intentional attacks by this teacher, and maybe some PTA mothers or other mothers or people in my town that might have made a quip or two at me. Going back to my second grade experience, after having the run-in with these two girls, one was Catholic, one wasn't, and these were in a group of girls, two Catholics and one non-Catholic, so two against one. So maybe they have to use the non-Catholic in a little stunt to do a cover, saying, "Oh, it's not a religious thing. This person wasn't Catholic." After this event happened, I had a couple neighbors come out at me when my parents weren't around, or when my parents would go inside, the neighbor would try to come in and say, "Stay away from my daughter," or maybe a PTA mom or a room mom might say something or kind of give me a dirty look, and I see this was done intentionally to give way for people who are controlled by the Catholic faith at Willow Springs School. And regardless of what other faiths they were, because the Catholic Church claims to be not the sister but the mother of all churches, and as far as the outside world, they claim to be the authority. So they have got their network of embedded people in education, and they've been using the high pitched yelling, screaming, trying to look for possible things like Asperger's or autism. People try to see if I was on the spectrum because I have very good senses, and people try to test and destroy them actually. And seeing this, I could see that long ago in grade school they were trying to get rid of people who might be problems or weren't going along with like the Catholic Church or the what the government claims is education, because they don't need people in there to see if someone's lying or to not trust the teachers or to be able to pick something apart. And walking on eggshells and being polite and trying to respect your neighbors, definitely does put you in a bad light. Not bad light as in you're doing something wrong, but bad light as you could be abused by these people. Overall, Willow Springs School was, I wouldn't say it was enjoyable, but it wasn't anything bad or terrible. But it definitely was students moving in, seeing some of them become like their families become home wrecked, and you could see maybe there were some older people giving advice, or you wonder why some people move to the town and they're a little further away from their job. More than likely, it was some just recruitment and disruption in the classrooms, so they could keep their agenda going.